Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. It's May 21st, 2024, and this is episode 67. Oh, May 21st.
May 21?
Yeah.
Well, that's a new way of putting it.
You don't hear it like that very often, but what the heck?
And there's probably a reason for it.
I mean, maybe it's my natural lisp. That very well could be. Oh, my goodness. So how was your weekend?
Weekend wasn't bad. I think last Tuesday when we did the podcast, I was talking about my old man injury with my Achilles tendon, and it got worse on Wednesday. I couldn't put any weight on it. It was all I could do to get to the doctors and get some, drop the pickup off to get fixed, blah, 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 all that. So I've been on anti-inflammatories, heavy-duty dose of that, and I got about another 5 days left, I think it is. Do we need just
to drug
sitting on
test
my keister, putting my heel on ice. I couldn't go out and do any grilling because the winds were blowing, and didn't do much that way. And then my big excitement was today.
Oh, boy.
Yes, 2:30 in the morning. I guess I better go to the bathroom. Go to walk in the bathroom, and as I step on the carpet, it goes. Oh, it's squishy, and it's like, no, not again. I just did this 6 years ago. Yes, folks, my water heater went. So, yeah, that was fun. I've been up since 2:30.
Yeah, so if he's a little more loopy than usual, this is why.
If you could tell, let me know.
I couldn't tell yet, but I mean, you seem to be the even amount of loopy that I'm normally used to.
Yeah, we'll probably finish with this, and I'll have to have a nap before I go into town.
It may not be a bad idea, just so you're not so grumpy. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. Well, my granddaughter's turned a year old this weekend, and we...
you had the fun 1-year-old dig into the cake, smear it everywhere party.
Oh, I know. And, I should put one of the pictures of that up on our Instagram page, because those girls are just so beautiful, and it's like covered in cake. It's even better. So that was just fun. They're just such happy girls. So I'm very grateful and blessed that those girls belong to us. So of course I take all that personally. They belong to me, really, but I mean we let Chris and Corinne raise them. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of people there. Nobody acted foolish. Everything was great. We have this big park in Cartersville that we went to, and they rented a pavilion, and it was great. We had a good time.
Ah, nice. Everybody was enjoying it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just sitting on my keister about 3 days in a row. I'm about to go ape nutsoid, having ice, and you can't move, and it's like you're supposed to stay off it, and it's like, I got things to do. But I did have fun watching some NASCAR on Sunday. That was hilarious.
You were saying there was a little bit of excitement on the NASCAR.
There was. It's one of those racetracks that if you get knocked out early, a lot of the others, you can just take off, and they have a tunnel that you go under, and you can leave the track. This is an old at Wilkesboro racetrack that they have refurbished and redid and kind of brought it back to life. And it's a little over a half-mile track. It's 0.6 something. So not quite 3/4. It's basically a smaller roundy rounder, but they get upwards of they were a little short burst of close to 100 miles an hour on a little short roundy round. That's they get slow. Going pretty good. But Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a little bump and run, and Kyle got upset and then run him into the wall on purpose. So I don't know. I haven't heard any sanctions from NASCAR, but there was discussions, and Kyle got lippy, and Ricky Stenhouse finally had enough of the lip and just popped him. So, it was all excitement.
It was almost like the House of Representatives. People just throwing words and almost fists. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh, that was
Oh, we'll have
hilarious
more on
too.
that later.
Do we have any words of wisdom this week?
We actually do. Whenever possible, we always try to start off the show with words of wisdom from our commander in chief.
It's Uncle Joe's Wisdom of the Week.
I'm calling on realtors to follow through on lowering their commissions to protect home buyers.
If you need a translation,
To do what?
yeah, he wants realtors to lower their commission when people go to buy a house. Because in the same vein that he thought that the reason grocery prices were so high is that the store owners want to pad their pockets. It has nothing to do with the transportation costs or the raw materials costs or anything like that. So it's like he's calling on realtors who are the worker bees of the realtor business to lower the commissions because you're going to save people a lot of money. But anyway, that if you could figure out what he was saying, that's what he said. So,
I got the first part of it, and then there was a at the end, and it's like I don't think it made any difference anyway because what kind of lunacy is that? Give me a break. Same thing you're saying with the grocery stores. I'm sorry, everything under the sun has to be trucked.
Yep.
I feel bad for the poor farmers because they're not getting a whole lot more for their crops, and they're spending twice as much or 3 times as much on fuel. Those tractors go over that field, folks. It costs something. I don't care if you're not eating cattle or not.
Diesel's through the roof. So you have that, and then you have the like you said, the trucking costs to bring it from the farmer to the distributor, from the distributor to or the packing plant or whatever they end up doing. I mean, it all adds up. But Joe wanted to blame the grocery stores. So it's sort of like, why do we have all these butcher shops? Why not just get your meat at the grocery store like everybody else? So cows
why
don't
you
get
go
harmed.
hunting for it? Just go get your meat.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
These people.
Okay.
Speaking of bad people or people that don't, people that get on my nerves, have you ever gone to the beach and just gotten triggered by, like an American flag being out there? I mean, no, you haven't because you're not a whiny liberal like this guy. And of course, he's whiny. He's talking about his kids at the beach. And think about this. I had to go through and edit all the F words out because he had to use one in every sentence pretty much because, he's a good dad apparently, and he wants to put this on social media with a bunch of F words. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but he's a whiny liberal. So here's how a day at the beach, if you're a liberal, goes.
I'm here enjoying a nice day at the beach with my kids, and I turn around. I got these flags planted here on the beach by these MAGA fucks. Listen, this is all America. We know you didn't storm the beaches to stake out your territory on the beach. This isn't the fucking moon. I get it. This is America. But I'm sick of my flag being represented by white nationalist trash on a beach. Go f*** yourselves.
See, he's such a classy guy. I mean, what a great dad.
He has no vocabulary other than that. Okay, well, thanks for showing us your intelligence.
Exactly. Hey, my mother would cuss like a sailor, but she would tell me the same thing. It's like, well, that just tells me that you don't have much of a vocabulary. I'm like going, what are you telling me? Because she was terrible about that. But
yes, it is our country, and you take pride in it, and we like having our flag flown, and it's okay. And if you don't like it, go to a country that doesn't have any pride in it. It'll be fine with us.
I think it was back in 2020, one of the MSNBC reporters or CNN reporters had driven down through Long Island, which is notoriously very red. They're very conservative out there normally. I guess because there's money out there. That's what the liberals would say. But anyway, they said that they were surprised at how many American flags were out. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with having? I've got an American flag in front of my house. As a matter of fact, we've got a thing that we bought at Cracker Barrel. My wife bought me. It's like an old. It's probably 3 feet tall. It's like a guy dressed in a sergeant's uniform, and he's got a helmet on, the whole thing, and it's like a flag holder. We've got an American flag
Oh,
sitting in there.
cool.
I've got solar spotlights that shine up on him out there 24 hours a day, 7 days. And I know you're supposed to bring it in when it rains. I don't. Sue me. But I like having it out there because it does. It kind of reminds people, in my view, that we have people out there on the front lines of different skirmishes all over the world. It could be called up at any minute. And, I mean, we should be thinking about these people, and we should be saying a prayer for these people that will put their lives on the line. To me, that's what the flag represents. I mean, and
Yeah. Well, when he was saying, none of you people stormed no, maybe we didn't. But you know what? I appreciate the ones who did, that
Absolutely.
gave their all for the stuff that we do have so that we're not all speaking German. Okay.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Apparently he doesn't. He could give a rip. Yeah, you guys didn't storm it. So why are you flying? And there's a reason to fly that flag. I will be doing a Memorial Day presentation at a senior home on Memorial Day. So
Oh, cool.
I look
Cool.
forward to doing some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm getting all the stuff put together, and I do visuals because they got a big TV, and I put stuff up on that, and just some trivia and some little things that about Memorial Day and the reason for it. A lot of people don't understand the poppies either
Oh, yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. And that seems to be more of almost a British thing now. We don't really do the poppies over here. I don't
No,
see
I
it very
remember
often.
doing it in grade school,
Yeah.
but
But that would be interesting. Maybe you could find that story and enlighten all of us again, because I don't know that I remember all of it.
while I'm putting that together, I'll something like that. I will get something read for
I
us
think
for
it
Memorial Day. How's
sounds like a
that?
good idea. I like that idea. But you think about the Normandy, the storming of the beaches. Well, the average age of the kids that were going or that were doing that were like 18, 19 years old. Some of them as young as 17, because they lied about their age so they could go to war because they loved their country. That kind of attitude is just not around anymore. You talk to an average
It's not
16,
around.
17, 18-year-old kid, they don't care about the country. I mean, and the studs that do care about the country, they're big tough guys that you want in the military, that I saw when I was in the military 40 years ago. You don't those guys don't want to join because I've gone so woke. Well, this is not what they don't want to hang around people like that. Somebody
Yeah.
dressing up like a girl? Come on.
Yeah, just sad stuff. I got a couple of years ago. I found well, when we went back, we were in the Smithsonian. I saw the flag that Francis Scott Key, that's got all the holes in it and whatever. It's in a dark room that's just very lightly lit so that it won't fall apart. And then you could read this whole story about how he came up with the words for the Star Spangled Banner,
Yeah.
blah, 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 all that stuff that was there. It was really cool. Well, I found an article or someone who was narrating that story essentially from the Smithsonian is where I had read it from.
Okay.
And I got told I had to take it down because it was not factual. I'm going, excuse me?
Not
This is in
factual.
our in the Smithsonian in DC. What part of that? And I didn't hear anything else from them, and I didn't take it down.
Who asked you to take it down? Was it YouTube or?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. They have just gotten so far off the rails. So
Yeah, well, this was a few years ago, so it might only been about 2 or 3. But still, it's like, give me a break.
Not
Well, this was not
factual.
in your ear. It's written virtually what I heard this guy narrating. I read on this big plaque in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I sent that back to him, and I didn't take it down. I didn't hear from him again.
And it's
either.
still up then. They didn't take it down.
It's still. It's nothing I did. It was someone
I
else
see.
who had narrated the story and did a really good job of it. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Before we go to break, let's talk a little bit about that cargo ship that got hit the bridge in Baltimore.
Speaking of Francis Scott Key.
Yes, exactly. Finally, it was moved out of the way and docked yesterday. But you think about this. The Biden administration came out within hours to say that there was not going to be any investigation necessary because, it was an accident. And of course, it was just so freaking obvious it was an accident. Inexplicably,
Yeah,
all 21 members of the crew that were stuck on were stuck on that ship, and their phones were confiscated up until yesterday. So, I mean, if it was an accident, then why go through all that? The mainstream media had said that those people weren't allowed to dock because of visa restrictions. 21 people.
Yeah, right. I don't think so.
And this is all the while the southern border has allowed 15 million people or so to cross into the U.S. and no visas or, a lot of cases, no IDs at all, but they do bring diseases. I think there was some kind of outbreak of something. I forgot where it was. It was Michigan or something. They attributed it to the migrants in the area. It was like mumps or something. It was outrageous stuff. But anyway, they also said that the federal government would pay for all the repairs. Do you remember that? They came out and said, we're going to...
Boom, right off the bat, we're going to pay. And the company that whose flag was flying that owned the ship, if you will, said, oh, hey, there is a deal with Maritime and we're only liable for this little teeny tiny amount.
But I think they ended up paying it out anyway. I think they got enough bad press from that. I think they ended up paying it out. I may be wrong, but it seemed like they ended up, the insurance anyway ended up paying out, and the federal government paid out, so they got paid double, or at least more than they should have.
They got paid enough to put a new bridge up. Good
of
Lord.
course, all this was no investigations, nothing to see here.
That's not what I saw in the video. That sucker. No, we're not quite headed toward it. Here, let's fix and adjust again. There, now we're headed right toward the main pylon.
Flick the lights real quick. Make it look like a power outage. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, and one last thing with this, Lahaina is still dealing with the debris removal and fighting with insurance companies. That was 10 months ago. This whole thing in Baltimore was 2 months ago, and everything's taken care of. Everything's fixed. The bridge isn't fixed, but I mean, as far as the federal government, we'll take care of it. No problem.
Yeah, the federal government. You mean our money?
Yeah. But
there is no federal government money. It's our money.
That's the thing that gets me. Lahaina, you talk about East Palestine in Ohio, Flint, Michigan, with the water problems they have up there. We don't have enough. We can't fix those things, but why is the bridge in Baltimore such a priority over people who are just as much Americans in these other places? I don't understand. So anyway. We're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Uncle Joe calling out Donald Trump to a debate, which it's kind of funny. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Kendra Rains, and I love these two old guys. That's why I listen to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast. And you should too.
You know, the best days begin with an early start and a good cup of coffee. The Crockett Coffee community is made up of doers and leaders, self-reliant people with a pioneering spirit who are ready to fuel up and do what needs to be done. As a new coffee company, they scoured the world for the finest ethically sourced beans, then linked up with a passionate family of coffee roasters from the heart of Crockett country. Together, they developed 3 simple, iconic blends: medium roast, dark roast, and decaf. Oh, and there's a light roast coming soon. All blends are available in K-Cups, ground, and my favorite, whole bean. So head over to CrockettCoffee.com and support a company that loves America like you do and makes the best coffee you've ever had, all delivered straight to your front door. That's CrockettCoffee.com. Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2. And by the way, if you want to reach out to us and touch someone, you can find us at soml@duck.com. You can write us, any kind of critiques. We'll probably won't read them, but go ahead and send them. The phone number is 770-727-6443. And you can call and leave us a message, some kind of death threat or something would be fun. But you can go to the website, stayoffmylawn.us, and all that information is there anyway.
Yeah. You might not read them. I'll read them. I'll ignore them, but I'll read them.
I have a shredder. So, I mean, we have a filing system. Anyway, Uncle Joe has called out Donald Trump to a debate in video form last week. And this is how that sounded.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
So, I think he's trying to be funny there at the end. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's not. It has to do with he's not in court. The court is in recess on Wednesdays,
oh,
apparently.
I see, I see. But since then you haven't showed up to a debate. Why? There hasn't been a debate. There hasn't even been a call for a debate since then. Oh,
And Trump did not lose to him twice,
no.
but whatever.
And if you watch the video, and the video is kind of, he didn't blink the whole time, which is, but if you watch the video, there's like 5 or 6 edits in there for a 20-second speech. I mean, you and I do our promos it goes on 3 or 4 minutes, and we don't edit jack.
Nope. You watch them, warts and all, people. That's on there. If we're laughing when we start, I don't care. Let's just leave it in. We're having fun.
Yeah. But yeah, the poor Uncle Joe had to get a lot of edits in there.
Oh, but the stipulations. Do you have a list of all the stipulations?
I've got a few of them. They put up there's not going to be any audience. I guess it's a distraction for poor Joe. No RFK Jr. And Trump is not allowed to speak while Joe is giving the answer. I guess everybody's going to get muted when somebody's giving an answer. Or, I mean, I guess it's going to run both ways. I'll be surprised if it goes both ways on that. But they're going to mute his mic supposedly. Anyway, did you know of any more? I know that there was. Seemed like there was one more.
There was the joke going around has been, I see they're having this on CNN. Oh, yeah, they won't have an audience.
No. I didn't even think of that. That's exactly why they don't have an audience. It's supposed to be in Atlanta.
It's all ridiculous. That's not how a debate is ran.
No.
And it's all liberal is all that's going to be doing stuff. And then you're talking CNN, although CNN has been a little critiquey of late.
Yeah, a little more
for
honest.
Lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's been weird. But they're going to be in Atlanta. But the whole thing is they bypassed. There's a company out there that sets up these debates every presidential cycle, and they bypassed that company and they just did it all on their own. Which I don't know exactly what that means, but they've. That's what they've done. Anyway, the debates are going to be June 27th on CNN and September 10th on ABC. And I heard this on the radio the other day. I think it was Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. They were talking about how instead of it being on certain networks, it should be like the State of the Union address. Somebody records it or somebody is there to film it and the whole thing, and it should be broadcast on all networks. That way, everybody can see it. There's not just one network getting something out of it. I think that's a great idea. That way, that nobody. I don't know. It just seems like you would get less, maybe a little bit less left-leaning politics in it. You could have a couple of different guys, maybe Brett Baer from Fox, or and maybe a liberal from CNN or MSNBC, and have those two kind of go back, and one of them read the questions to the conservative read everything to Biden, and the liberal reading everything to Trump. Yeah, it seems like that would be a little more fair.
Something along those lines, because the stuff that they have that they've requested, and I wish I would have kept a list of this stuff because it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a debate. We're going to be here to push propaganda, and it's going to be the way we want it. And that's not a debate. That has nothing to do with a debate.
No.
And he can't put a whole sentence together without having a problem. And just as you said in that 20-second clip, there was more cuts in that thing than steak has when it's ready to be chomped on. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It was bad. And did you see the, on a related note, did you see the commencement address at Morehouse College in Atlanta?
That was horrible.
It was horrible.
Absolutely atrociously horrible. And some of the Morehouse folks that were graduating, when he started talking, they turned their backs on him. I don't know what their protests were, but it's like, wowzer.
And you got to wonder if it's about Palestine or whether it's, whatever they were protesting. I think part of it, though,
I have no idea.
I would think part of it, they just didn't want to hear a campaign speech. And if you listen to, and I only heard about maybe 5 minutes of it, the meat of it anyway, and it's like, that's exactly what it sounded like. It was a campaign speech.
Yep. It was a propaganda-filled campaign speech.
Yeah.
There was more lies in that
Yeah.
than
Oh my
Carter's
gosh.
Got Pills,
They
which is
did.
an old thing.
They did. Yeah, I remember my dad saying that. But
Thanks.
but I mean, he put it this way. My dad would have been 106 today. So I mean,
Oh
yeah,
my.
yeah. So he was just like you. He was around your age.
Well, some of us are better preserved than
You know,
others.
well, 106 isn't what it used to be. It's the old 80. But
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
but that was a weird speech, and kudos to the Morehouse College grads for turning their back on him. I mean, that's what it's going to have to take, for these people to get the message. But whether he got the message or not, he probably can't see more than 2 feet in front of him anyway. Poor Uncle Joe. But as far as the debate goes, did you hear that Trump wants him drug tested?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
I did.
you look at the State of the Union, or you look at the big speech that he did about a year ago with the big red background and the American flags and the Marines standing there. It's like they injected him with some kind of mad medication or something, because he gets this angry tone to him, and it's like, but he's wide awake, and he does much better when he's I don't know whether it's espresso or some kind of drug. I don't know what they give him, but he gets angry, and yeah, you just got to wonder. I think that's not a bad idea. Let's drug test and make sure that everybody's, he's not on some kind of
Let's make
performance
sure that there
enhancer.
is actual blood and that it's not a AI.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Test it for DNA. Make sure it's not Barack. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
and there was recently, by the way, this week that was going around side by sides of him from not far off, I think earlier this year or whatever. Yeah, that ain't the same person. I don't know what the heck they were doing, but it weren't the same guy.
I mean, I saw where, prior to 2020, he's had some kind of plastic surgery or something done where his earlobes look different and everything. He looks like he's standing there in 40-mile-an-hour winds. He's just got his face is kind of stretched back. And, but yeah, even from earlier this year, he has a different look on his face. It's weird.
Yeah, it's not right. It's just not right. I'm telling you.
Something ain't right, man. Something ain't right. I don't know. But if you've been living under a rock, you may not have heard about this, but Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butkers has drawn a lot of controversy since his commencement address. It was now he's a Catholic guy. I'm not a Catholic person, and there's a lot of things in Catholicism
Neither am I.
that I have issues with. But just like Mormonism and some of the others, a lot of people don't even know what the dogma is behind these churches, and there's a lot of stuff in Catholicism. There's a lot of stuff in Mormonism that I think that a lot of people just don't even know. Anyway, that being said, he was speaking at a place called Benedictine College. He was asked to speak at a Catholic university. Being a Catholic guy, everybody should be on the same page, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the controversial part, it was a 20-minute speech. But here's where he was talking about the blessing his wife has been, which, I totally agree with. I think it's wonderful.
I want to speak directly to you briefly, because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
Gosh, you gotta love somebody who just loves their wife so much that it breaks them up.
I mean, that's genuine. He wasn't trying to fluff stuff up. He wasn't making things up. That is true from the heart. And what I'm tired of hearing about is how he should be. We've got 200,000 signatures that he should be fired from his blah, blah. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
He had a almost 95% kicking percentage rate. for Kansas City and help them win another Super Bowl, he ain't going nowhere.
Well, I just can't believe that there's so much outrage over that's kind of the meat of it. That's really the big part that everybody couldn't stand. The NFL wasted no time to condemn what he had to say. They were out within hours. Which is interesting. With all the crap that a lot of the players get involved with over the years that I've read about, some have been arrested for domestic abuse, DUIs. Not a word from the NFL. Nothing. No condemnation. No, they should be fired. No, we're getting a bunch of signatures to get him off the team because he beat the soup out of his wife. Nothing. But this guy lauds his wife for being a wonderful wife and a wonderful mother, even though I'm sure she has a degree. I mean, what is wrong with thinking that women should embrace that if that's what they want to do? If you want, and he goes on in that speech, if you go on to want to have a career, then so be it. But a lot of people, a lot of women, my wife included, that I thought about having kids when I was in high school. I was thinking about how that would go, and my wife did too. So,
yep, we had ours young, and my oldest daughter went to school, and she has a CPA and did that for a while, and then finally had children, and they decided they didn't want someone else to raise their kids, and she's been busy taking care of the boys, and she's been treasurer at the elementary school because of her her background as a CPA, and doing all those sorts of things because that's what they want to do. That's how they have figured out how to make their life, and we're going to make this work, and that's what we do. And a lot of families in the last couple of years, especially, since the pandemic, however you want to say it, there's a different pronunciations, have, when they started going back to work again, they started looking at stuff and going, I'm working for $200 a month because of minimum wage. You got to pay. We can't afford that. It's only going to take $200 more out of our budget or $300 more. We'll just figure out what we can cut back, and I'll just stay home and take care of the kids because you can't afford childcare. It's stupid.
Childcare is very expensive. So
it's unreal expensive when you're paying for your little one to go to childcare to the tune of, some of them are $8 an hour, $9 an hour, and you're making 15. And by the time you take taxes out, there ain't a lot left over.
No, I know when my son was born, my wife worked at she was a manager of a candy store. And it's like, so when he was born and everything, we were talking about, I think that year we made combined $29,000 combined. I mean, we didn't make a lot of money. So it was like, that was really the only choice we had, because if she didn't work, then we wouldn't have had any money left over for groceries by the time rent was paid and everything else. So we were kind of in that corner, which a lot of people find themselves in today. I get it totally, because I've been there. But at the same time, like you said, if you're only making an extra $200 a month, you would hope that you could find $200 a month somewhere to make it work, so you don't have somebody else raising your kids. And that was really one of his only points on all that. Anyway, I fully expected to hear that he was released, but nothing yet.
I'm hoping that they don't do that. That's none of anybody else's business. He was not doing it for the public. It was for the people at a Catholic talking to Catholics at a Catholic university.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. Now, apparently the Hunt family, who owns the Kansas City Chiefs, are backing him. I heard a quote from the wife of the owner, and I heard this from the daughter of the owner. She came out very quickly and had this to say.
We're going to start with you because the couch would like to know, as America would, the reaction from the Hunt family regarding the kicker, Harrison Butkers.
Well, I can only speak from my own experience, which is I've had the most incredible mom who had the ability to stay home and be with us as kids growing up. And I understand that there are many women out there who can't make that decision, but for me in my life, I know it was really formative in shaping me and my siblings to be who we are.
So you understood what he was talking about?
For sure.
Okay.
And I really respect Harrison and his Christian faith and what he's accomplished on and off the field.
Okay.
So it sounds like the owners are backing him
I don't
up.
think he's going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't care how many of you woke people sign. Ooh, we have a signature, 200,000. He's gone.
Yeah,
No, he's not.
yeah. That and a quarter gets you a cup of coffee, as my dad used to say.
Anybody else in the league had a kicker that was kicking close to 95% accuracy?
No.
They ain't gonna let him go either.
A friend of mine in Kennesaw came up and said on the post that I said was marked safe from Harrison Butkers' comments, and he came on there and said, "Yeah, I think as penance we ought to send him to Atlanta and kick for Atlanta for a while." Like, that seems cruel and unusual. We do have a little bit more in this story. We are up against a break, though. Let's do that. And then when we come back, we're going to hear from Trace Gallagher, who summed all this stuff up very nicely in his Common Sense segment. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Guests on the Stay Off My Lawn podcast stay at the luxurious Motel 6, right off I-75 on Highway 20.
East Coast Wings and Grill has new menu items. Come out and try their new Big Deal Burger. 2 seasoned quarter-pound Angus beef patties stacked with fried pickle chips, cheese, bacon, Thousand Island, and tomato. Or how about East Coast Wings and Grill's new street corn cobettes? Tender, crisp corn cobettes served with tahine-based aioli drizzle and topped with Parmesan cheese. Visit eastcoastwings.com for a location near you.
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. Segment 3, we are excited about segment 3. This is going to be, hey, you're halfway done. Just relax.
Okay. I got to vote, and it's primary in Idaho, and I got to go get a water heater, and yay.
Oh, boy. I don't have any that excitement coming up. So we were just talking about the Kansas City Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butkers, before the break. And Trace Gallagher from, of course, if you know who Trace is, he's from Fox News. But he summed it up really nicely, so much better than I could have. And so I wanted to play what he played the other day. And here's how that
Well,
went.
the Fox News at Night Common Sense Department has thoughts on Harrison Butkers' commencement speech that was so offensive, there's a petition with hundreds of thousands of signatures demanding the Kansas City Chiefs release him, fire him. So offensive, the Kansas City website publicized where Butker lives. They doxed him because he gave his opinion. What critics call his misogynistic take on women, telling female graduates, quoting here, "Some of you may go on to lead successful careers, but I would venture to guess the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world." Common Sense wonders if they're offended because he's wrong or because he said it. Is he not allowed to venture a guess? Is there some hidden study that says 51% of women would choose career over family? Or is the anger because he dissented from the preferred narrative? How come calling for the eradication of Jews is free speech, but saying your family is the best part of life is a fireable offense? Harrison Butkers is a, quote, unapologetic pro-life Catholic. Yet he's accused of dehumanizing women. So keeping the baby is dehumanizing, aborting the baby is humanizing? Remember, he also said more than once how important fatherhood is to families and society. Many applauded his speech. His jersey is a #1 seller. But you don't have to buy his jersey or like his speech. It's America. Common Sense doesn't care if you think he's wrong. He still has the right.
Yep, he's got the right to say it, and he did.
Yeah, like I said, it's a Catholic talking to a bunch of Catholics at a Catholic university.
Yep.
I don't care what you think is right. In your ear, this is for him and for them. If they didn't care for the speech, that's their business. Yeah. But it's all these outsiders with all their noise that they want to blah, 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 blab in our ears.
See, the thing is, if you don't like it, don't bring it up on YouTube. Don't look at it on Facebook or wherever it ends up being.
And there was nothing that bad about it. Give me a break.
And there's a friend of mine in Florida that said that she was upset about something that he had said, that she had read that he had said, that was inaccurate. He didn't even say what, I don't even know what it was, but supposedly it had been reported that he said something different. So
the left wouldn't report stuff that way, would they?
If you're not familiar with the term that Trace said at the beginning there, doxing, I was not familiar with that term. I had to look it up, and apparently the official Twitter account for Kansas City, not Kansas City Chiefs, but for Kansas City itself. The official Twitter account apparently was so mad that they tweeted out his neighborhood that he lived in. Just so you know, this is where he lives. I'm like going, of course, later on they deleted it and apologized, but I think he's got a lawsuit if he wants to go that route.
I think he's got a nice big one coming.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's not called for.
No.
It's the same thing as doing that to the Supreme Court justices, where you go camp out on their lawns. That is against the law as well.
Absolutely. I don't know. I guess we've kind of beaten this story up a little bit, but you need to think though. It's like just because somebody says something that offends you, we are in America. The First Amendment almost is wrapped in being in understanding that you could be offended by somebody at any given time. My opinions may offend you. Your opinions, I don't get offended very easily, but I'm like, just because you say it, I might think you're stupid, but I'm not offended. But people are way too sensitive. Just get over yourself. The First Amendment, just read it. Figure it out.
You disagree? You don't need to go on a march over it. Did it change your life? Did it do anything to you?
Exactly.
No, not really.
Show me on this doll where it hurt
and
you.
some of the stuff that is being reported, I'm glad you brought that up, that's being reported, what he said, is not in his speech anywhere.
I mean, if it's so offensive, then you shouldn't have to make stuff up. But anyway.
It's not offensive enough. Let's juice it up just a bit.
Yeah.
Spice it up.
Speaking of spice, there was
You're welcome.
You are a segue king today. There was a committee meeting at the House of Representatives last week, and it could have.
Oh, wait, that wasn't the Jerry show? I was expecting him to start going, Jerry.
I expected a chair to get thrown. I thought it was Jerry Springer myself, and ended up being, no, it's just Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene kicked this off with a question. We'll see what you think. Here.
Chair recognizes Ms. Greene.
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising.
Just a heads up.
So you know, Judge Merchan is the judge that's presiding over the trial in New York City with Trump. Supposedly, one of his daughters is working for one of the people on the House Oversight Committee.
It's not supposedly, she is.
Yeah.
And has made lots of money, gathering money for other Democrats in this. It's just. The improprieties are, you can't list them fast enough.
Exactly. The guy's name is Dan Goldman. He's a far-left congressman from New York. He's a real piece of work. Yeah. And so anyway, he employs his daughter, which is where she was going with all that. And of course, Congresswoman there at the end, you heard Jasmine Crockett from Texas had to chime in and butt in. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene responded. And then AOC jumps into the ring, which...
Tag team.
The lack of common sense has entered the chat. And it ended up being a cross between, like you said, Jerry Springer and WrestleMania 60. So here's how the rest of that went.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman, that's beneath even the order of your committee.
Order. Not a point of order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down. Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl?
We are going to move, and we're going to take your words down.
I second that motion.
You agree to strike your words?
By the way, I want to have a T-shirt. I'm going to go back to this. I want to have a T-shirt made just says "Girl, baby girl, do not play." I think that's wonderful. It's the most ghetto thing I've ever heard at the House of Representatives. Anyway, here we go.
Oh, and Marjorie knew she was under their skin, and then she just kept pinching.
Absolutely. Here's the rest of
that. Oh,
it.
did I hurt your feelings saying it with just so much, just a straight face and no emotion? It is like, poke that bear. Come on, poke him again.
Well, when somebody gets upset over nothing, I mean, why not? Anyway.
Oh, and by the way, that congressman woman from Texas was, of course, on CNN saying that Marjorie was nothing but racist. How is talking about your damn fake eyelashes racist? I don't understand how that. How did that get to be racist?
Even Jake Tapper had a hard time with that one. Yeah,
yeah, it's like what
you got to hear how the rest of this goes, though.
And the poor who was it? Was it Massey? That was
Thomas Massey.
Yeah,
no, that was oh my gosh, Comer, James
Massey?
Comer.
Yeah, and he has hearing aids and he has trouble hearing. And then when you get 3 female bitches who are all up here and they're like, he goes, I can't hear anybody say anything.
Yeah.
I am damn near deaf. He said, stop. He had somebody trying to tell him what was.
I know.
And then in this corner weighing in.
Yeah, he wears 2 hearing aids. I did not realize that, but he said he's very deaf.
So when you have all that outside noise, it just all becomes one glob of.
My dad wore a hearing aid, and he got the same way. If there was a lot going on, he couldn't hear anything. So but to be fair. And
wait a minute, do we have to?
I try to be fair.
I don't want to be fair.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I love this woman. She lives just west of me. She did not have to go there. She didn't have to bring up the eyelash.
Oh, she was poking that bear going, come on. Let me see if I could get you going. Come on. And she was having fun screwing with him.
She was.
I mean, that's purity out and out. All she was doing was just screwing with him.
And because Marjorie lives not too far from me, to be fair again, I have only seen fake eyelashes like that from the checkout girl at the Dollar General. So, I mean, in the House of Representatives, it's an anomaly. I mean, I think it's like a straight guy driving a Mini Cooper. It's something you just don't see every day. So anyway, it was and AOC, of course, when she chimed in, she's obviously not a candidate for Mensa either. There was just a lot to.
Yeah, I don't think they've even sent her an invitation yet.
I don't think so either.
But it was like tag team next.
I don't know whether they ever got it struck or not, but it was like, we used to make fun of the parliamentary meetings in Europe and where they get, or even in Asia where they start beating each other up over stuff. It's like, we're only a step away. I mean, that could have been a heck of a fight. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know if you follow her on social media, but she squats like 315 and she's a strong woman. I mean, of course, they made.
I know. So when I heard AOC go, girl, baby girl, I went, really?
Oh my God.
Lady, you would be out in less than a 3 count. You would be done.
I think it was Representative Crockett that said something about she was a butch-built girl or something. I'm like, you're just jealous. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has her issues. I'll give you that, but come on now. She would body slam you
for a little while, and then it got to be even without having to have hearing aids. And sometimes when it's really noisy, a lot of noise going on, I have trouble discerning certain tones, and my wife's pitch is just right there where I saw your mouth move, and I know you were saying something. Oh,
yeah.
Too many years driving in noisy trucks going down the road.
Well,
it was, oh Lordy, yeah. It was. You just wanted to see a chair go across, and the audience, the rest of them in there going, Jerry.
Exactly. I waited to see if oh gosh, can't think of the guy's name. I'm trying to do this off the cuff. The guy that used to be on Fox News, the guy with the really bad mustache. Anyway, he used to have a TV show. Geraldo, there you go. Geraldo Rivera. I expected him to come out there and tell everybody to sit down and shut up, and nobody ever listened to him on his show either. But I'm with you though. I mean, ever since I had my chemo a couple of years ago, it's platinum based, and one of the side effects of that is tinnitus. So I've got terrible tinnitus since then. Oh. So, but it's the same thing. Is that once things hit a certain frequency, then it gets canceled out by the ringing that you always have in your ears. And it's like, it just sounds a little like you're talking through a pillow. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's I can see the mouth moving, and if I can see that, about half the time I can read lips enough to know where I'm going. But otherwise, she turns her head, and it's just.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Huh?
I've always had trouble when my wife has looked away from me. We've been talking in the car. She'll be looking out the window at something and then talking to me at the same tone that she would have been if she was looking at me back when my ears were fine. I'm like going, I can't hear you at all. I mean, you're speaking against a window over there. But yeah, but poor James Comer, it was out of control. He had no way of controlling that.
It was almost somebody needed to hit the ring bell. Ding, 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 end of round one.
Let that be a lesson that when you go to the voting booth, find somebody that has, a few brain cells that put together. Goodness gracious. And if they look like hood rats or they talk like hood rats, then come on now. I mean, maybe there's got to be something else. And nothing against Miss Crockett. I don't really know her.
I don't know her either. I'd never even heard of her until this incident.
I have heard her berate somebody in the past, but I mean, sort of like, like you said, Jake Tapper was like, he was lost. It was like, how is fake eyelashes, which she even admitted to, that white people wear fake eyelashes too.
I think we have a freeze up.
We did have a freeze up, but he didn't understand the whole fake eyelashes. How is that racist?
It made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Again, typical left ideology. Everything's racist. Whatever you say, if you're a white person, that was because of racism. So anyway.
It just must suck to go through life and just do nothing but look for things that you want to find disagreeable.
Yeah, or offensive. Yeah.
Yeah. What a crappy way to spend life.
You got to be a lot of fun at parties, is what I'm thinking. Anyway, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Larry Kudlow, and he's going to talk a little bit about how Trump dealt with some things when he was in office, and maybe we could use some more of that. But anyway, hang in there. We'll be right back.
If you're in our demographic, it might be a good time to go and pee. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Memorial Day weekend, the start of summer. A 3-day weekend of furniture and car sales, barbecues and gatherings with friends and family. But it's not just about that. It's about honoring the fallen, the ones who gave all so we can live free. This Memorial Day, pause for the national moment of remembrance. Display your flag proudly. Visit a national cemetery or memorial. Pray for the fallen's loved ones, the men and women serving now, and our nation. We honor, we remember, and then we celebrate. Learn more about Memorial Day at memorialdayfoundation.org. In memory of many, in honor of all. All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 4. And, it's almost
almost time to get something to eat, have a nap, and then go buy a water heater and vote.
Exactly. Just calm down. It could be worse. You got to go buy a water heater today? No. So you're going to be okay. So poor Richard is the one taking all the blunt of all this today. So
I've already had a new bed we had to get. We had to get a new recliner for the wife because hers literally, she had towels. I didn't know it was that bad. It had springs had fallen apart. It was like almost 30 years old. Our refrigerator went, it's like, will you please just stop? The bleeding won't stop.
Well, you rich guys, you got to go buy new stuff all the time. I don't understand.
I just about get one thing paid off.
My wife's got a new recliner. We had bought some Lane, I think, recliners a couple of years ago, and they were great at first, but now it's like mine tilts probably about 20 degrees to the left. And it's like, my daughter-in-law will come over and she goes, when are you going to replace that? I go, why? She goes, because it's tilted. It's like, it works. And I wonder why my back hurts. I wonder if that's part of the reason. But I'm too cheap. My wife's got a new one. I'm waiting for a sale. That's what it is.
Yeah, mine's about 25 years old too, and it's got a broken spring under it. But her chair, the rocker, because it was a rocker recliner, she's got all the springs are good underneath on that. Hey. So I'm going to take one of the good springs. It's covered up with a tarp and put that under my chair and see if that doesn't help it not lean so much to the back.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, that's
almost 30 years, it's really sad when you go, yes, I've had that chair since,
since the Carter administration. It was, I paid 18% interest on my credit card to get it. Oh, gosh. No that was terrible back then. Anyway, how was it so different the way the Trump White House and the Biden White House dealt with some of the, for lack of a better term, the crazies in the Middle East. You always hear about the Reagan talking point, peace through strength, which actually worked. I was in the military back then, which, was very peaceful. So I can't say that I did anything heroic. I worked on my electronics, and I never got sent anywhere. But anyway, what does that actually look like, that peace through strength? Well, Larry Kudlow, he's a political analyst, financial expert, and former director of the National Economic Council under the Trump administration, gave us a peek on how, at least with Iran, how all those troubles were kept at bay. And here's how he reacted.
If Trump is reelected, it will be changed.
What do you think we'll see?
You will see something akin to where it was during Trump's term. We had embargoes that were enforced. They were broke. We took out their top terrorist leader and would have taken out others. I mean, Trump once told one of these big shot mullahs, he says, it's okay, you do what you have to do, but I have your cell phone number and your street address. And I'm not making that up. So that will change. The Iranian relationship must be completely changed. And Trump knew this. Trump knew this. Trump is the only one who knew this. Of all the presidents in either political party, it was Trump who understood this best of all. Now, my point here is the Arab states, including the Saudis, know this. And they know that we know who the problem is in the Middle East.
Well, think about this. Over the weekend, we had the Iranian president and his, I guess I forgot. He was a foreign minister. Yeah, I think he was 40. I forgot what he was. Basically, the Secretary of State, if we want to compare it to the U.S. They were killed in a helicopter crash. And of course, one of the first things that happens from our White House, our condolences to you poor people in Iran. It's like, and most of us conservatives are like going, well, heck, that's two people off the planet that don't need to be here anyway.
Well, and in the UN, they all stood and honored him. Oh, you mean the butcher of Tehran?
See,
Tehran, however you want to say it.
But that's the big difference,
I'm not honoring this. Gentleman has had more people killed and has killed more folks just because he didn't like the cut of your jib, as they used to say.
Exactly.
This was not a nice person. The world didn't lose anything that was bad.
No, definitely not. And you think about what Kudlow said about how he's like, I got your street address and your cell phone number, but do whatever you want. It's like it's a veiled threat, which, it's still a threat, I guess. But you compare that to the spineless foreign policy we've had the last 3.5 years, giving them piles of money and just kowtowing.
And he looks him dead in the eye when he says that.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a couple of things. It's like, no.
Have you seen the video where he was at some kind of UN meeting, or he was at the G8 or whatever? But anyway, one of the leaders of the UAE or whatever was sitting there, and supposedly you're not supposed to touch these people. They have this very, very big rule that you don't touch them. Anyway, Trump,
he got away with it.
He did. He walked by him. He tapped him on the shoulder, like someone, like, how you doing? As he walked by, and the guy looked at him like, that's just Trump, and he just went back to what he was doing.
How you doing? As he goes by, and they went, okay, never mind.
Exactly. Hey, how you doing? Anyway.
Well, he is New Yorker. So,
he is a New Yorker, exactly. Mozzarella. So speaking of the former president, MSNBC came out and they went down to Atlanta, down here where, there's a bastion of liberal voters. So and they wanted to talk to some, supposedly this random 3 people of voters about who they were choosing for president. I don't think it went as planned, but it is entertaining.
Do each of you support Donald Trump?
I do.
Yes. Yes, for all 3 of you? Yes. Has this trial changed your opinion, even caused you to waver or question that at all?
No, it's actually caused me to support him more. I just don't believe there's a coincidence that we have a trial happening in Atlanta. We have one happening in New York. So the question people are beginning to ask themselves, like I did, is like, why now?
It's pretty much everybody says they're picking on him. People are tired
of going after him, and you see it in so many areas, it's really not a big issue in the party. Actually, they're really making everybody mad, and they look at a big bully, and the government is the bully.
This is going to be your first time casting a ballot. What is it for you that drives your support of the former president?
I think always fighting. I mean, he's taken so much just defense from news and everything, but he still hasn't given up. He keeps fighting to do what's right.
I've talked to many people who formerly identified as a Democrat. They have changed their political persuasion to independent, and they are looking forward to voting for Trump because now they find something in common with a political candidate at that level.
When you say they find commonality, what is that commonality?
They have felt persecuted by the system of American injustice. And it's not a stretch for them to think that Trump may be a victim as well. People see that there's some kind of commonality between himself and maybe all the black men that have been incarcerated and the families that have been impacted by black male incarceration.
And that whether that's factual or not, I mean, definitely there's a lot of black people behind bars that compared to their population. I mean, you could say that they commit more crimes, or you could say, I do know black people that tell me that they get pulled over more than they should have, than I've been pulled over. So, I mean, there's something to be said there. And Trump being on all these trumped up charges, I mean, I think there is that congruency there, that they can see that these are false charges, just like some other people may be able to see the similarity. So.
Oh, that MSNBC gal was she kept trying to word things in a way that she could get what she was looking for an answer, and they shut her down every single time she asked. It was like, nope, And what's happening to him is totally the system is being used against him on purpose. Yeah. And she was like, she didn't have anything to say about it. It's like, what else can I ask him to get what I want? Never did get what she wanted. No. And the look on her face every time they would give her an answer like that was just priceless. Yep. If you could watch this, it was hilarious. She's like, I don't know what to do if they're not following our propaganda. I don't get it.
Yeah, she was completely expressionless. And, but I think a lot of anti-Trump people are the same way. It's sort of like, well, you don't believe this? I can't believe you don't believe this. And if you don't believe this, then I've got nothing else to say, because everything that I believe is hollow. I mean, I've got no depth to why I believe what I believe. These people were articulate. They understood why they believed what they believed and why they wanted to back President Trump for the next election. Look, I'm not a huge Trump fan for me personally. I'd like to meet him one day. That'd be kind of neat. But at the same time, I don't hold him to really much. I don't really hold any other human being to much esteem. But he's not my cup of tea. But you know what? His first 4 years, he got a lot of stuff done, stuff I wanted to get done, and
he did stuff that he said he was going to do, and that is just frosting all these other people who make all these promises, like Joe, and don't do a single nothing.
But I think if you're an anti-Trumper and you're a Republican, I think you need to zoom out a little bit, take a 30,000-foot view of all this stuff, and maybe flush all the personality things that you don't like about Trump out of the way and go, okay, what is it that he has done, and do I agree with what he has done? And because he hasn't done anything bad. I mean, come on. I mean, not as far as the role of president. Yeah, he's slept with porn stars and he's done his thing, but it is what it is. He's a flawed person. If you're looking for somebody perfect, you're not going to find anybody. So
you're not going to find them on either side. Nope. That's for dang sure.
For sure. Well, anyway, we need a palate cleanser after all that.
Oh, Lord, do we ever.
It's a little political, but I guess you could, it's about the Watergate thing. But I guess the whole thing is, if you anyway, it's insight on the Watergate thing. It's something that you may not have ever heard of. I had not heard of it until I heard this. So enjoy our palate cleanser.
Now, the rest of the story. Late one Saturday night, Bernie and Frank and Virgil went to work. It was night work because Bernie and Frank and Virgil were burglars. Virgil was the locked man in the outfit. He boasted there was no lock that could stop him. He had keys or ways, he said, which could open any door. They'd already cased the joint they were going to knock over that Saturday night. George, the boss of the burglary ring, had looked the place over. It should be easy. A piece of cake, all agreed. Virgil had eyeballed the lock and waved it away with his hand. He could spit on it and it would open. Night fell. They were standing at the front door of this place, except for George. George had stayed back at the hideout. Hours later, there was a knock on the hideout door. It was Bernie and Frank and Virgil, and they looked grim. What had happened? The head man, George, demanded. A little slip-up, said Virgil sheepishly. The keys didn't work. Well, George's eyes grew wide. What did he mean they didn't work? Virgil said that he'd slipped one into the front door lock. It didn't quite fit, so he pushed a little harder, and it got jammed in there. George clapped an anxious hand over his face. Didn't the boys realize the danger of abandoning a damaged lock? The people would notice the tampering. Then they'd really lock the place up, maybe even install a burglar-proof security system. One thing was sure. If they ever wanted to go back and try again, they'd have to clean up that lock that very night. And George went with them this time. About 3 a.m, when they all got to the front door, George was relieved to see that although the lock was scarred a little, probably nobody would notice. George glared at Virgil sternly and said, look, you get some new tools, and next time, do it right. How soon? Virgil asked. And George said, tomorrow night. By the next night, Virgil had picked up some new keys for the job. He had to fly all the way to Miami and back to get the necessary burglar tools, but he got them, and he was ready. Now, let me say that the Saturday night fiasco you have just heard about was not the first time they'd tried to knock over that same place, nor would it be the last time. They recruited reinforcements. A fellow named Eugenia, another one named Felipe, Rinaldo. They had 3 helpers and tried it again and failed again. They tried the next night and couldn't get in. They should have quit while they were behind. Because when they tried again a 5th time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, mind you, when they tried a 5th time, they got in, but they never got out. For the last time, the Three Stooges bungling burglars you've just met left some tape over the door latch and alerted a security guard and got caught. And the Silly Billy burglars had never intended to steal anything in the first place. All they had intended to do was to break in and sneak out, leaving behind a concealed microphone. Really, that was all. That is all these abysmal inexperts had ever intended to do in the first place. When they were repeatedly frustrated by an ordinary hotel room door that forgettable night in 1972 in Washington, D.C.'s hotel Watergate. And now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah, we were talking about this off the air. It's like, how old were you back then? You were in high school? You said?
Yes, I was in high school.
I was in 72. I was 8 years old, but I do remember seeing Nixon resign in 74. Was it? I think he resigned a couple years later.
Well, Spiro went first.
Yeah,
I loved old Spiro T. Agnew.
Yeah,
he was such a do-nothing. It's like, oh, he's gone? I didn't know he was here.
He had that weird Brillo pad hair, which was always entertaining to watch. But yeah, I mean that was kind of a weird time to grow up, seeing a president resign over wiretapping the Democratic headquarters. That's what it was. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. Anyway,
it was quite a time. It made government history class very interesting.
See, there you go. And yeah, there was a lot of. You think we got weird stuff today? We had some weird stuff back then too. Anyway, we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Smart Speaker, YouTube, and Rumble now every week. So to go along with our weekly promos over on Rumble. So
there you go. As we take a lot of pride in doing our promos. Yeah, whatever.
No edits. Don't expect to see an edit.
We have fun with them. Or you could just go to Go to our website at stayoffmylawn.us for all our past and present episodes.
All right. We'll see you next week, folks.
Thanks for listening, Doodles. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Well, mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.